Welcome. It's another edition of Coffee with the Goose. You know, I talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. Yes, I'm the Goose, and I'm so glad you joined me again. I'm so excited. Well, I try to be excited every day. You know, life is exciting. Got a big fight coming up. We've talked about this before, and we'll put a wrap on it as we get ready for the big rematch between Donaire and Inoue. But first, let's have a little coffee. I screwed up last show. My apologies. Got to have my coffee. My goodness, if I'm going to get things done and get my mind right, I got to have my coffee. Very strong, like my opinion, and I got to have some creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. All right, now we're all set. This is a huge, huge fight and a rematch of a war that was fought 2.5, 3 years ago in Japan. This one will take place in Japan again between two great bantamweight title holders, the Filipino Flash, Donaire of the Philippines, and the monster from Japan, that of course is Inoue. Let's set things up for you. We'll take another look at the previous fight and see what we can expect or hope to see in the fight coming up very soon. Donaire, of course, originally from the Philippines, has been living in the U.S. for many years now. He is a 4-division or 3-division, I forget. He's a Hall of Famer for sure from the Philippines. 42-6 on his career with 28 KOs. He is the WBC bantamweight champion of the world. He's 39 years old, but he carries it pretty well. Inoue, of course, the monster from Japan, just 29 years old. He's in his prime, 22-0 with 19 knockouts. He is the reigning WBA and IBF bantamweight champion of the world. These two guys are, what you want to see in boxing. They bring it all to the table. They've got intelligence, they've got toughness, they have heart, they have power, they have speed, they got everything. They have all the fundamentals, and they're a joy to watch in the ring. They went at it, like I said, in 2019 in Japan, and it was an absolute slugfest. Both of these guys suffered. Inoue got the victory, a unanimous decision. But he paid a heavy price. He suffered a broken orbital bone, around the eye, and a broken nose. And he really suffered at the hands of the great Filipino champion, Donaire. But he weathered the storm and defeated Donaire by unanimous decision. Donaire, on the surface, you hear people saying, I may have said this too, that it was the fight was still anybody's to take in the championship rounds, that being the 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds, until Inoue put him down with a body shot in the 11th round and came away with that unanimous decision. But you know what? Looking back on it again, it really wasn't that close. Now, don't be too hard on me. I'm a Filipino fighter champion. Fan of Filipino fighters, of course. My wife is from Cebu in the Philippines, and I've watched Manny Pacquiao and the other champions fight many times, and I appreciate them. And of course, we got a home in the Philippines, so it's kind of in my blood. But you know what? Let's be honest. You got to be honest when you watch these fights. This one was Inoue's, hands down. You look at CompuBox numbers from that first fight. Now, I know CompuBox is not the end-all, be-all, but it's a good way to judge, really, who won the fight. And they both of these guys threw relatively the same amount of punches, 628 shots thrown by Inoue and 605 by Donaire. But who landed more? Well, by far, Inoue. 227 punches, almost twice the number that Donaire landed. That's 141 punches. So, Donaire could have won the fight. There's no doubt about it. But Inoue outworked him. And again, he's got some advantages, and he is going to be the champion, the favorite in the second fight. No question about it. But can Donaire beat him? Well, of course he can. Don't underestimate Donaire. Even though he lost that first fight, and he's lost 6 fights, but he's been around forever, and he's won several titles over the years. And again, he's the reigning WBC bantamweight champion of the world. You look at the advantages that Inoue holds over Donaire, and he does. Let's be honest. He's a complete package. Inoue has power. He is the monster, rightfully so, that nickname. He has quickness, a little bit quicker than Donaire. He has legs. He's very quick on his feet. That's an advantage he has over Donaire. He moves very well, and maybe that's part of the reason why Donaire didn't land as many punches as Inoue did. And he outlasted him. It's not really who lands the most punches, but who can stay on their feet the longest and continue to perform. And Inoue did in that first fight. He has better endurance, or he did in that first fight, and he will be favored to win again, rightfully so. But Donaire has the skill. He has the ability to beat Inoue. What does he have to do? Well, he has to, in my opinion, do what he didn't do in the first fight. Number one, he has to throw combinations. He only landed 1 or 2 punch combos in that first fight. I know he was hard to hit, but you've got to, when you hurt him, and he stunned him several times in the fight, you've got to follow up and throw several follow-up punches, 3, 4, 5 punches. You gotta follow up and continue the attack. You can't just let him catch his breath and continue to march on. You can't do that. Donaire has to deliver solid combinations, especially after hurting him. He has to take advantage of the left hook. That's a deadly weapon for Donaire. We've seen that many times in the past. And he, like Inoue, throws vicious body shots. So he's got to do that, although it's really hard to do that against Inoue because he moves so well. If Donaire's going to win this fight, he's got to take him out early. The longer the fight goes on, the youthful exuberance, if you will, the endurance of Inoue will be his advantage. So Donaire has to take him out early in the fight, and he's capable of doing it. Come on, just like I'm honest when I look at that first fight and what he did not do against Inoue. You have to be honest on the flip side and see what he is able to do if he has the right game plan. And you know what? That's what it's all about when you fight at this level. You have to, especially in rematches, you have to learn from your experience. Every fighter has weaknesses. Inoue, even though he's undefeated, he's got weaknesses just like Donaire does. You have to learn from the experience. You have to make adjustments, not just from one fight to the next, but from one round to the next. When you see something isn't working, go to plan B, make adjustments. And you have to take advantage of your opponent's weakness. And learn, and of course, if you have that 12-round slugfest, your opponent's got weaknesses. Hopefully you look back with an honest eye, a self-critical eye, and say, look, this is what I should have done, and this is what I'm going to do the next time. Shoulda, woulda, right? Put that into action. Come up with a game plan, not just plan A, but plan B and plan C, and so on and so forth. You have to use your head as well as your God-given gifts, and your being prepared with all of the skills that you have. So this is going to be a great fight in Japan again, and I'm excited, and I know you guys are too. The Filipino Flash trying again against the monster Inoue, and again that's going to be coming up in Japan. Now, who's waiting in the wings for the winner? Well, it's not John Real Casimiro. No, he for the third time in a year's time, he did not fight. And we're not going to get into the details now. You guys know all about that. He was scheduled to take on Paul Butler on 2 different occasions, and he was not able to get into the ring with him. And so Butler fought another Filipino, Jonas Sultan, and defeated him easily to defend his WBO World Bantamweight Championship. He wants a piece of the action now. He wants the winner of the Donaire-Inoue fight to further unify this fight and hopefully have a undisputed champion at the end of it all. So this is going to be interesting to not just in the future to see who the winner fights, but who's going to be the winner. Again, Nonito Donaire against Naoya Inoue. Inoue is the favorite, and he should be. He won decisively in the first fight, even though Donaire hurt him. Don't forget, Donaire is able to beat him. He's able to hurt him in the second fight. We'll see who has the better game plan, who is better prepared, whether it be the Monster or the Filipino Flash. Let me know what you guys have to think. I know you have very strong opinions, and I'm not going to give you a prediction on this one because it's really up in the air. I have no idea who's going to win this fight. Again, Inoue is favored, and he should be. But it's going to be a great matchup, and it's going to be a war, a continuation of the war that we saw 3 years ago. That's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you have to think, and give me your predictions. You think I'm wrong? You think I'm full of it? I might be. But we'll see, and of course, we'll give you a recap after the fight here in a few days. All right, that's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Thank you guys so much for watching, and many thanks to you who have subscribed, and please do so if you haven't already. All right, we'll talk to you again soon.